Welcome everybody to WWE Aftershock week 47, and I know it's been a long week since you've seen me. Obviously the holidays got busy. I had family come over, and it was just a big holiday fun. I kind of mentioned this on the last episode of WWE Aftershock, so that's why I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. But it's been so busy that I haven't even seen Survivor Series yet. I am recording this on Sunday after Survivor Series, but I haven't seen it yet. But I figured I had to get this week's stuff uploaded, so that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm just gonna review the shows this time around, and I'm not gonna cover any news things because I don't want to spoil Survivor Series for myself. So I'm just gonna get right into it. We're gonna start with main events again to follow house show rules. Overall, main event was pretty entertaining, so I'll give it like a B minus. I thought it was. Going through Raw, which aired on November 20th, 2023. We had Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary for this show. And obviously throughout the night, the big storyline was everything going on with Judgment Day and the 5-on-5 War Games match. It kicked off with Drew McIntyre giving an explanation about why he did what he did. He really didn't give one because he mentioned that if you've been watching the show, I don't need to give you an explanation. He talked about, how he just can't get over the fact that Jey Uso cost him the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship all that time ago. And yeah, I liked that he mentioned that he's not any different than he was and everything like that. It's just that everybody hates the person he's going after. He mentioned that he's not with the Judgment Day, but he is going to fight alongside them if it means getting Jey Uso alone inside a steel cage. And then Jey Uso comes out, they go to fight, but Judgment Day gets up on the apron, and Drew still offers to face them alone, which brings out the rest of his team, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. And before they can go at it, Adam Pearce gets into the ring, and he mentions that this isn't going to happen tonight. And he said that if they get into it before the War Games Advantage match, then their team will forfeit the advantage. And he mentioned that by 9 o'clock tonight, they have to pick their team member. They have to pick their team member that's going to represent them in the advantage match. And they also, Team Cody has to pick the 5th member by the end of the night. So, it was a good way to kind of keep Raw fresh, keep the storylines going. Backstage, Damian Priest is upset with Rhea Ripley that she didn't clue him in on, the fact that Drew was going to be on the team. And Damian Priest wants to be the one to be the representative, but Rhea Ripley thinks that, you know, when Drew McIntyre gets there, they should all talk about it together. And Drew says that he wants to be the one to represent, so he can beat up Jey Uso and everything like that. And Damian Priest allows him to because he wants Drew to prove himself and prove himself worthy of his team, which causes Team Cody to, you know, pick Jey Uso because Jey Uso wants to get retribution on Drew McIntyre for everything that he's done to him since he's been on Raw. And they still need to pick a 5th member, and we find out that it's also open to people on SmackDown. So they all make calls later in the night when Judgment Day is supposed to give a speech hyping up Drew McIntyre, but they just never do, and Drew says that he doesn't want it. And you can definitely tell that Drew and Judgment Day don't get along, but, you know, it's kind of like the enemy of the enemy is my friend type of thing, which I enjoy that they're doing that. And, you know, Seth comes up and says that he's concerned for Jey because he knows that Drew's going to try to hurt him. And Jey says that he's got this. And then it ties into another segment where Cody mentions that he made a call to an old friend. And says that, you know, he's going to come through for them. And we have the War Games advantage match. It was really good. I really liked how physical and just how much of a fight this match was. But eventually Drew McIntyre does get the win with the Future Shock DDT, giving his team the advantage. And afterwards, a big brawl breaks out, and the faces fight off the heels. And Cody announces pretty much that Randy Orton's going to be making his return at Survivor Series. You know, he actually doesn't say him by name. He just says all of his nicknames and catchphrases and everything like that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it was a big moment. This does make me question. Again, I haven't seen Survivor Series yet. If CM Punk is coming back or not, I might give a prediction on that later in the show. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I really liked how they ended. They tied off the men's War Game match. I thought it was really good stuff. I really liked all this stuff. So it was really good. Other things that took place in Raw, they did a pretty good job building up the Women's World Title match, where they did a nice little video package with Zoe Stark. And then they showed a segment where she was in the Judgment Day's locker room / private locker room, where she kind of basically come up and basically said that, you know, Rhea Ripley's losing focus, and says that she needs to be focused on her, because if she doesn't, she'll slip up and lose the Women's World Title, which is pretty good stuff. You know, everything they did with Imperium on the show was pretty good. Marcel Bartel tells Fabian Eichner basically just to stay backstage doing his match with Johnny Gargano. And the match with him and Gargano was pretty good. He doesn't listen to him, though, and it causes Johnny Gargano to beat him with the one final beat. And when Walter was going to go have his face-to-face segment with The Miz, he still kind of reprimands Marcel Bartel, and you know, tells Fabian Eichner that he's still doing a good job. So there's still kind of some infighting going on with Imperium. I don't know if I like it or not. And then we had the face-to-face segment with The Miz and Walter. It was really good stuff, where The Miz talked about, you know, how he's happy to be an entertainer, and he says that he idolized all of the great Intercontinental champions and show respect to the past, while you know, Walter's just a flash in the pan. He hasn't really had to fight from the bottom and come back up like The Miz has. And you know, Walter mentions that The Miz was bullied in the locker room, and he's going to do the same thing to him at Survivor Series. And they get into a fight. Walter gets the better of him at first, but then eventually Miz hits a low blow in the Skull Crusher finale and holds up the title. Really good segment this. I really liked, you know, obviously The Miz and Walter's altercation with each other, and I'm looking forward to the Intercontinental Championship match. Yeah, more things that happened. They did a pretty good job setting up the Xia Li Becky Lynch match. They showed a training video that Xia Li did. And we had the match itself. It was pretty good stuff. They had Lyra Valkyria in the crowd. Yeah, well, that was good. And then Becky Lynch won with the Manhandle Slam. And she just beat her clean. They didn't have anybody interfere, which I don't necessarily mind, because I thought Lyra looked strong enough where it didn't hurt her momentum or anything like that. Which one thing I did like about Raw, you know, this most recent episode was everybody at least got some type of clean win. You know, there really wasn't a lot of bullshit that kind of happened. Which, you know, I don't mind it happening every once in a while, but I think, the matches that you thought would have had bullshit didn't have bullshit, so that was good. But Becky wins. Afterwards, Damage Control comes through the crowd, and we get a big brawl with the Women's War Games participants, where, the baby faces stand tall, so that was good stuff. Good way to hype up the Women's War Games match. They did announce on this show that Lay's Chips was doing some type of deal where you could vote which team was going to get the, man/woman advantage for the Women's War Game match, which, is an interesting concept, I guess. It's just really weird that the men have to, fight for it. Well, people just kind of vote for it. I wish I would have preferred, the women have to fight for it, but whatever. Both teams fight for it, not necessarily one or the other. Other things that happened on Raw, Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez faced off. This was relatively good stuff. Nia Jax won. I don't love that, but it is what it is. They did a segment backstage to set up a number one contenders match for the women's tag team titles, where it ended up being between Natalya and Tegan Nox versus Katana Chance and Kato Carter versus Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. The women's that was a really good four-way match. I really enjoyed it. Tegan Nox and Natalya win when Tegan, when Maxine Dupree hits a crossbody from the top turnbuckle, but Tegan shifts the weight and gets a roll up herself and wins the match, and they become number one contenders in the women's tag team titles. I assume they're going to get the match on Raw at some point. I don't think they're going to wait too long to do that match, but whatever. I liked this match, though. I really liked the team of Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile. They were the ones that really impressed me the most. I don't love the fact that they took the pin, just because I think they were really over in this match. I think it should have been either Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell or Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, since they're not really doing anything with them. But whatever. And then Adam Pearce is backstage. All the tag teams come up to him and they basically won an opportunity at the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles. So on Raw, on the next episode, they're going to have a gauntlet match or a tag team turmoil match where the winners will become the number one contenders for the tag titles. If I had to make a guess who's going to win that match, I'm probably going to... it's really tough to say, but I think they should give it to the Creed brothers, probably. Creeds or DIY, those would be the two teams I like to see them face. I would say the New Day, but they've already now faced them, so there's really no point to doing that. But I would like to see the DIY or the Creed brothers. More preferably the Creed brothers, but I like DIY to be held off till Mania. But we'll see. And then afterwards, him and Nick Aldis went and had a conversation in his office. We never saw anything about that, but that was good. They did some good promos with Ivar and Valhalla and Bronson Reed to hype up a match between them next week. Really looking forward to that. I don't know who's going to win that because they both are being pushed right now and they both need a win. I would like to see Bronson Reed win, but I would be fine with either person winning. So we'll see what happens. And then the last thing, notable thing that happened on Raw was Shinsuke Nakamura faced Chad Gable. This was a really good match. Nakamura won when he exposed the turnbuckle and they kept teasing like Gable was going to go into it, but he kept trying to stop himself, which caused Nakamura to beat him with a roll-up. And yeah, he's still sending a message to somebody, targeting them to come after him, so we don't really know who that is yet, so it's interesting to see who that is. But that was Raw. I really liked Raw. I can't really think of anything that I really had an issue with on this show. It was all really good stuff. I'm going to give Raw an A-. It's not quite A+, A-ish. I think you just know when you see those types of shows, but it's pretty close to it. It was a good go-home Survivor Series show before that, so that was good. Going through NXT, I liked NXT this past week. I have noticed while kind of getting back to the old version of NXT, but pre NXT Stand and Deliver, because they were kind of getting back to that booking mindset. But overall, it was still relatively good. That took place on November 21st, 2023. We had the commentary team of Booker T and Vic Joseph. We had a Heritage Cup match between Noam Dar and Chad Gable. They had their, Noam Dar had the Metaphor, the members of Metaphor in his corner, and Chad Gable had the members of Alpha Academy in his corner. And this match was very good. I really enjoyed this. This might have been like the best Heritage Cup match I've ever seen. It was very good stuff. Noam Dar cheated to get the first fall because Ola Menta took a cheap shot towards Chad Gable, which allowed Noam Dar to hit the Nova Rolo on him to get the first fall. And Gable got the second fall. It was really good how he got it too. It was like the round 5 had just started, and he just eventually just hits a Chaos Theory onto him, and ended the round really quickly. It was really good stuff. And then, after that, the match continues, and they basically go to overtime. Gable has him in the ankle lock, and eventually, Noam Dar is trying to hang on. He's trying not to tap out, and eventually, he does able to hang on, and he taps out like right when the time limit expires, which was good storytelling right there. And afterwards, everyone's upset about this. Metaphor, poke fun at Otis and everything like that. And eventually, they get their comeuppance. Otis attacks Mensa, and Maxine Dupree pushes Last Legend into Otis's arms, and she's being really creepily towards her. It was pretty funny stuff. So, I'm gonna guess this is the end of Alpha Academy in NXT, just because I don't really see, what else more they can do. They could do a rematch, but I don't think they will. We had the continuation of the NXT deadline. Well, not the deadline, but the Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying matches. JBL got to make his picks. He picked Blair Davenport and Thea Hale to go at it in the women's, and he picked Carmelo Hayes and Josh Briggs to go at it in the men's. I'm starting to kind of... If they really had a pick, I don't think they would really pick these people. Like Lita, picked Last Legend 1 week, and then I think Mick Foley. I guess the people he picked, I think he would have probably picked. But some of these choices that they're picking are just really questionable. I could see obviously Thea Hale and Blair Davenport being picked. They're really impressive. Nothing against Josh Briggs. He just hasn't really done anything to stand out in NXT that would make JBL pick him, other than the fact that he's a big man. But, you have a lot of the big men that have been doing really well in NXT. You would have thought he would have picked Braun Breaker, so you could definitely tell that they're not really picking these people. But anyhow, both matches were good. Blair Davenport faced Thea Hale, and they still have that scandal going on with Chase Hughes, so she was kind of distracted by that, Andre Chase wasn't there, so they did a segment backstage where Thea Hale was not confident, but JC Jane says that she has her back, and she got distracted by members of the Chase U universe not chanting for her, so it caused her to lose. I thought that was kind of a dumb finish, but whatever. I think Blair Davenport, it makes sense for her to be in the match anyways, and obviously everybody knows how I feel about them, doing what they're doing with JCU. I've beaten that dead horse enough as it is. And then we had Carmelo Hayes versus Josh Briggs. Backstage, they did backstage segments with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, where Carmelo Hayes wanted to do this on his own. He didn't want anybody in his corner, and Trick Williams understood that. And then they did the same thing for Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon Henley. And we had the match. It was actually pretty good stuff. I thought Josh Briggs looked pretty good in the match. Eventually, Lexis Kin interferes, and he distracts Carmelo Hayes long enough for Josh Briggs to hit a clothesline on him for the win. And Josh Briggs qualifies for the Iron Survivor Challenge. Kind of questionable lineup for these Iron Survivor Challenge, but so far it's Last Legend, Tiffany Stratton, and Blair Davenport. So I don't think the women's one's looking too good. The men's one's looking pretty good. You got Trick Williams, you got Dijak, and now you have Josh Briggs. Just kind of a questionable choice. I don't understand it. I do understand it in the sense though, like I understand what they're trying to go for with the Alexis Kin thing, because I think they clearly want to have Carmelo Hayes and him have a match, and it's more about the Carmelo Hayes Trick Williams storyline. So I actually think it helps that storyline that Trick Williams qualified, but Carmelo Hayes couldn't. So I just think the lineups for the Iron Survivor Challenge are pretty good. And Joey the Kid Lawler's supposed to give his picks about who he's going to have in the match. He's probably going to change it every 2 seconds. But I imagine Braun Breaker definitely is going to get a qualifying match. And he's probably going to face... I'm trying to think of, like, yeah, because I don't know who he would pick, but I would like him to pick maybe Joe Coffey. I think that would be good. You know, Braun Breaker, Joe Coffey match. That would be good. And for the woman, I think they should do Gigi Dolan versus Kalani Jordan. I think that would be good stuff. Or they might do Kiana James, actually. Maybe that match, just because I think they want to have, you know, Roxanne Perez screw a little bit. So, and I think there's only 2 more spots for each. I imagine they're going to do some type of last chance battle royal or something for one of them. And whoever didn't qualify that should have been in the match anyways will get in it. And then, yeah. We'll see what happens. But it was good stuff. Other things that happened in NXT, they had a tag match with Garza and Carrillo facing Ilya Sanofi and Malik Blade, which Garza and Carrillo won. It was a pretty good tag match. And they mentioned that they're going to see the family, the NXT Tag Team Champions. And the family had a celebration. They basically did, you know, mob stuff at their restaurant and everything like that, and they got payments from everybody. Kind of tell what they're trying to reference there. And when they left, which you could totally tell they weren't really at a restaurant, they were clearly at the PC, because when you look outside, you could kind of tell that that's the PC parking lot. They get attacked by Garza and Carrillo, and that's going to set up an NXT Tag Title match for the next episode. I'm still looking forward to it. It would be better had the family not lost the tag titles and then just won them back recently and make the match a little bit more predictable, but it is what it is. But yeah, so yeah, that kind of was what it was. And then what else happened in NXT that I didn't get to? Wes Lee did a promo. He talks about how he hasn't been the same since he lost the NXT North American Championship to Dominic Mysterio, and he wants one last opportunity. So Dominic Mysterio comes out and basically says that he is going to give him one last chance, and that's in a 4-way next week where he's going to face 3 former North American champions. And if he wins, he'll give him a shot at the title at Deadline. But if he loses, he can never challenge for the North American title again. I don't know if that means just as long as Dominic Mysterio is champion, or ever again, like, no matter what. They weren't really specific on that, but yeah, we did find out later in the show that the competitors are going to be Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, and Johnny Gargano. I think that makes sense, obviously. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones really that are still around, which is sad to say, that are former North American champions, except for maybe Solo Sikoa and Carmelo Hayes, but you know, I don't think they want to put them in the match. And then, yeah, everybody else is pretty much out of NXT. I can't think of, maybe Ricochet, I guess. I'm surprised they didn't put him in the match, but well, he's also injured, so that doesn't. But yeah, I think that would be a hell of a 4-way. I imagine, you know, whoever wins the 4-way will face Dominic Mysterio for the belt at Deadline. So, you know, because that would make more sense of why, like, you know, all the other 3 guys we want to get in there to prevent Wesley from getting the shot, but we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, it'll be cool to see all these guys back in NXT. I think Cameron Grimes should just stay there permanently because they're not doing anything but on SmackDown, but we'll see. He's probably taking the pin, I guarantee you he is. And then Von Wagner and Mr. Stone have a ditto segment. It was really good stuff. Von Wagner was just being like a really good uncle to Mr. Stone's children. And yeah, it was just a really good segment. I really liked it a lot. Charlie Dempsey faced Eddie Thorpe. And he was pretty much destroying him until Eddie Thorpe pinned him with a roll-up. And then afterwards, Gulak, Miles Bourne, and Dempsey all just beat him up afterwards. So this is the Eddie Thorpe's next feud. So yeah, relatively good stuff. That was fine. Then Ariana Grace does a promo, pretty much putting down the NXT universe, and Carmen Petrovic. Really not that good of a promo. I really didn't care for it. They did a segment with Josh Briggs backstage where Tiffany Stratton wished her good luck at Deadline, and Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley came up, and they wanted to know what that was all about, because obviously they're feuding. They legitimately did the same storyline with Kiana James a year ago, so what a waste. Now they're just doing it with the other guy, so it's just so stupid. It seems like they can't do anything with Brooks and Jensen, anything all that meaningful. I don't like it at all. And pretty much that was, they announced that Andre Chase is going to be at NXT. He's going to break his silence. He's probably going to talk about what the scandal he's got going on. But I think it's pretty much implied that he took a loan from the family. That's pretty much what they're implying, but we have to wait and see. Not a fan, obviously, of the scandal, as you know. And then, pretty much the main thing of NXT was the NXT Women's title match where Lyra Valkyrie defended her title against Xia Li. They tried to do the match the first time, but Xia Li attacked her before the match, so she had to go to medical. It was hyped up all night, that she was going to go into this match injured, so they did it in the main event, and Lyra Valkyrie just won. It was relatively okay. Nothing really all that, great, but it was fine. But it was a good first title defense for, not Fallon Henley, Lyra Valkyria. It really was kind of a letdown to end NXT. I kind of wish they would have ended on some type of cliffhanger or something where it was some with Hayes being upset that he didn't qualify or something with Leslie Skin doing a promo, but it is what it is. Overall, I thought NXT was good. I'll give it a B-. Wasn't a great show, but it was good enough. So, good show there. Go. Then going through SmackDown, it took place on November 24th, 2023. We had the commentary team of Michael Cole, Kevin Patrick, and the returning Corey Graves. It was good to see him back. He did relatively good considering the fact that, he's lost sleep and all that type of stuff. So that was good stuff. Becky Lynch came out to do a promo. She talked about how the reason she joined up with Bianca Belair's team is because she just wants to pretty much beat the shit out of Damage Control, and Bayley comes out and she pretty much tries to stir the pot between Becky and Charlotte and Bianca. Not really so much with Shotzi. Shotzi's kind of been the odd person out of this team. I think she's probably going to be there just to take the pin, honestly. Bayley makes a challenge for Charlotte and Becky to face them in a tag match later in the show. And Charlotte and Becky accept. This is why I think it should have been for the advantage, because it would have forced Becky and Charlotte to have to work together to get the advantage, because there was really no reason for them to really work together. But whatever. And later in the night, Damage Control Bailey made this match thinking she wouldn't have to be in it. But later in the night, Damage Control recommend that Bailey teams up with Asuka to kind of get their kinks worked out. I thought Kairi Sane would have made more sense with what happened, when Kairi Sane left the company the first time, but whatever. So throughout the night, they do this thing where Becky and Charlotte have issues with each other, and Bianca and Shotzi have to kind of talk them down. And in the main event, they're not able to put their differences aside, and it costs them the match. Yeah, I liked what they did here, though. There's obviously some legitimate friction between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair in real life, so I liked how they kind of tied that in to the show. So I liked this a lot. And then other things that happened on SmackDown was pretty much everything that took place between Carlito and Santos Escobar. Carlito came out to do a promo and basically said that, he was going to beat some respect into Santos Escobar. And Santos Escobar comes out and blames Carlito for being an outsider and trying to infiltrate the family, but he didn't really care about the family. And it leads to a big brawl, and it gets broken up, and Santos is standing on the stage and Carlito standing up towards the steps, and we think that's going to be it, but Santos jumps over the barricade and stomps on the arm of Carlito and pretty much injures him. And then they continue, he attacks him backstage, and Dragon Lee, who they did a video package for earlier, makes the save. He does a really good head scissors off of a trash can or something, sending Santos into an equipment box, and basically makes the save for Carlito. And Nick Aldis gets interviewed later in the show, and he announces that the match is off. It's going to be postponed, but Dragon Lee wants to be his replacement, and Nick Aldis gives him the match. So I really liked everything they did with Santos Escobar and Carlito. It's really good stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Dragon Lee has his, first match and everything like that. So yeah, it's going to be good stuff. And then they had Finn Balor. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing that happened on NXT, by the way. They did a good closer look between Baron Corbin and Ilya Dragunov, which was good stuff. But back to SmackDown. Finn Balor and Damian Priest retained their WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. They showed Bobby Lashley and B-Fab watching the match backstage. And yeah, it was a really good tag title match. It was just fun. And even though the Street Profits had to lose, they protected them pretty well in defeat because they had Rhea Ripley interfere, so that kind of cost them the match. So it was good stuff. And afterwards, they did a promo pretty much talking about how they're going to take out Team Rhodes at War Games. And then they did a tag match with the Brawling Brutes and Pretty Deadly. And Rich Holland didn't really see him into the match. Eventually, he just walks out, leaving Pete Dunne to fend for himself. But obviously, because he's outnumbered, he ends up still losing. Yeah, interesting that they're going to break up the Brawling Brutes. If it leads to Pete Dunne getting his name back, I'm not going to complain about it. But yeah, interesting how that's going to happen. And then the last real notable thing that took place on SmackDown was the Grayson Waller effect with Kevin Owens. Originally, Austin Theory came out and acted like Kevin Owens, and they were going to do a thing where they made fun of him, but Kevin Owens interrupts it, and Grayson Waller's upset with Kevin Owens because he cost him his match. He feels he cost him his match against LA Knight. This brought out LA Knight, and there's a big brawl between them. It turned into a tag match. It was a really good tag match, actually. I really liked it. And eventually, Owens hits the stunner on Waller, and LA Knight hits the Blood Force Trauma on Theory and gets the win. And LA Knight and Kevin Owens win. So that was pretty much SmackDown. Nothing Bloodline related happened really on SmackDown. It was all just hype for Survivor Series War Games. So that was, interesting. And yeah, I liked SmackDown. I'm going to give it a B. Good, solid show. Really liked it. So yeah, that's pretty much my reviews of the shows. And again, I'm not gonna do any. I think I mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it now. I'm not gonna do any news breakdowns or anything like that because I don't want to spoil Survivor Series for myself. But I am going to do some predictions. Keep in mind, I haven't seen Survivor Series yet, so, and by the time you see this anyways, it's going to be Tuesday, so I'll just do the predictions anyways. So for Survivor Series, we have, I think, 5 matches announced. I might forget one, but I can't look up the matches right now. We have Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. As much as I would love Dragon Lee to get the win here, I'm fine with either guy winning, but I think they're going to give it to Santos Escobar here. He just turned heel recently, and they want to get over his new attitude, but I think Dragon Lee will have a really good performance in this match. We have Walter defending the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz. They could give The Miz the title here, and have him break the, most records of holding the championship, but I think Walter's going to retain the title and keep his streak going. I hope they have this feud go on a little longer, just because I think this feud's been pretty good, and I feel like it's really starting to get, starting to cook. So I hope they kind of have the feud, and they have a match again on Raw, but I think Walter will retain the Intercontinental Championship. Then we have Rhea Ripley versus defending her Women's World Title against Zoe Stark. I think Rhea Ripley retains. I don't think Zoe Stark has a chance of winning. So there's that. I think that's everything for... That's like a singles match, pretty much. I can't think of anything else that's announced for Survivor Series. Both the War Games matches, though, we have Team Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. I'll predict who's going to get, like, the man advantage and stuff first. Or I think we'll get the woman advantage. I actually think it's going to be Team Becky. I think it's a fan vote, and they're going to vote for them. They get the woman advantage, which will be weird, but I think that's going to be what happens. Which will force, like, Damage Control to have to really work together, especially since there's stuff kind of going on there. And who I think will start the match? I think it will be Bianca Belair and Asuka. I think they're kind of like the Iron Woman that can kind of carry the whole match and everything like that. And then, obviously, I'm trying to think who takes the pin. Well, I think Damage Control actually all gonna win. I think, this is gonna be like the whole thing they did with the Bloodline last year, where this is like them kind of coming together. And I think Damage Control should win the War Games match, and I think Shotzi will take the pin. Who I think will come out last, I actually think it's gonna end up being, Bailey, and I think Becky will come out last for her team. So, there you go. There you go. And then as for the men's War Games match, there's a lot they can do there. It's Team Cody, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, the return of him, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins versus the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. We already know who has the man advantage. Who I think will start, I think it's going to be Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I think, and who do I think will come in last? For Team Orton, I think it's going to be Randy Orton's. Well, for Team Rhodes, anyways. I think Randy Orton will come in last because he'll get the big pop and everything. And for the Judgment Day, I think it's going to be Damian Priest. One, he's the leader, and two, I think he's going to try to come in last and treat himself as fresh as possible, so that way a lot of damage will be done to Seth Rollins, and he'll attempt to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. So I think Damian Priest will come in last. And then, who wins? I think Team Rhodes wins this. I don't really see Judgment Day winning. Just because I don't. I think, the whole thing's culminating for the faces to get the big advantage, and I think, they're doing a good job teasing cracks in the Judgment Day, and I think, it's time to really go there and, have Damian Priest's team lose, and since he was the leader, they'll blame him for losing, and it will cause him to get kicked out of the group. I think that's going to be what happens. Who takes the pin? Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I'm trying to think, it's gonna be Dom or JD. I think it's gonna be Dominic Mysterio. I think he's the ultimate heel in the match. I think people would like it if he took the pin. So, there you go. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. I think that would be good stuff. I'll do some predictions for Raw and NXT. For Raw, I think Bronson well, I guess I can kind of already do them. So I don't really need to do those, I guess. But that's pretty much WWE Aftershock. Sorry if this one seemed tired and stuff like that, but you know, I got up early today so that way I could do this, and I want to watch Survivor Series War Games. And you know, I'm trying to keep it brief because I realize this video's up. I'm going to get a lot of views anyways because it's dated, since I'm talking about stuff that happened pre-Survivor Series and I haven't even seen it, but I want to get the show out, you know, as quick as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we're going to do, I don't exactly know what's going to happen when it comes to covering Survivor Series and stuff, but you're going to get some coverage for that. And then AEW Spoke will be recorded on Tuesday, uploaded Wednesday. We're going to be, you know, we're viewing full gear in the following week after that. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and since this is being recorded in the past, I will talk to you guys in the future, 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 in the future.
Phase 1 complete. Phase 2. Any date?